The hull of the survey vessel Nova trembled like a dying heartbeat. Corridors once alive with chatter and clanging tools lay silent, save for the low hum of failing life support units. Captain Vern Arlen stood on the bridge's central dais, fists braced against the command console. The forward display crackled, stars winking in and out as if tired of their own light. "We've lost main power," said Lyra Voss, the communications officer, voice brittle. "Batteries are at 20%, and the O2 scrubbers are degrading faster than predicted." Vern's throat was parched, but he swallowed hard. "Still broadcasting on all channels?" "Yes, sir," Lyra replied, tapping the console. "I'm loop-streaming the distress beacon. If there's anything out there." She didn't finish. Vern knew better than to hope for friendly neighbors in uncharted sectors. They were explorers, not conquerors, yet fate had a way of turning every survey into survival. Through the reinforced viewports, the void seemed to press in, indifferent. They'd been charting a newly discovered pulsar field, its radiation belts dancing with eerie green phosphorescence, when the collapse began. One system after another blinked out, navigation, weapons, even the internal gravity compensators. The Nova felt suddenly as if gravity had forgotten its job. "Sir," interrupted Drake Soren, the science officer, voice tense. "I'm picking up a quantum signature in the aft segment. It's oscillating." Vern frowned. "Oscillating how?" "Like a beacon," Drake said. "But it's not ours. It's targeting our hull emissions, specifically our terraforming frequencies." Terraforming? Vern thought. They'd only been scanning cosmic dust densities, not seeding worlds. Yet somewhere they'd crossed an invisible line. "Keep scanning," Vern ordered. Then he turned back to Lyra. "Any response to the beacon?" Her fingers danced over the hollow keys. Hold on." The speaker emitted a crackle, a shimmer of static, and then a voice. "Humans," it boomed, not through the speakers but everywhere at once, as though the ship itself had spoken. The tone was neither hostile nor welcoming, but impossibly ancient. Vern's jaw clenched. "Identify yourself." There was a pause, as if the voice weighed the question. Then, "I am the measure you invoke when life teeters on the brink. Your beacon has summoned me." On the bridge, eyes widened. Drake whispered, "He materialized just now." Vern spun, just in time to see a figure step into existence. No door had opened. No teleport flare. There was simply a silhouette, tall and lithe, robes folding like liquid shadow, skin pale as sunlight on bone. Its eyes were midnight wells. Who are you?" Vern demanded, hand hovering over his sidearm. "Judgment," it said softly. "And I arrive with your plea unanswered." A chill crawled down Vern's spine. "We didn't ask for judgment. We only—" "Distress," the figure interrupted. "Yet in distress you still claim innocence. You extract, you colonize, you conflict. Your beacon was a cry for aid, but your record summoned condemnation." Lyra's fingers shook. "Yes sir, what do we do?" Vern exhaled, steeling himself. "We hold position. We broadcast raw data, every log, every transmission. If help is coming, they'll need truth, not fear." "Truth," the figure mused, stepping closer. "You have 24 hours before the verdict. In that time, you may speak, not to me, but to the witness beyond." "Witness?" Vern echoed. "The silent court," it said, voice echoing through bulkheads. "They observe. They record. And in the end, they decide whether your spark endures or is extinguished." With that, the figure dissolved, leaving only the drifting motes of dust in the beam of the forward lights. Alarms blared as systems fluctuated, emergency lighting restored some normalcy. Crew exchanged looks of horror and resolve. Vern straightened. "Lyra, send everything to Earth Command. Drake, compile environmental scans, colony treaties, first contact logs, everything showing our worst and best. Prepare to speak on behalf of humanity. The Nova's corridors hummed back to life, life support shivered into operation. Yet no comfort came from the regained gravity or the glow of the consoles. A cosmic jury had been summoned, and a lone captain must plead for billions. In the silent aftershock, Vern Arlen realized, this was no longer a charting mission. It was a trial, and the final testimonial would either redeem or condemn an entire species. The Nova's hull stuttered as the last of its auxiliary thrusters flared to life. Captain Vern Arlen remained at the command dais, dark circles beneath his eyes betraying long hours of fitful thinking. Around him, the bridge crew moved with determined focus, each action deliberate, every keystroke a plea to the unseen court beyond. All logs are uploading to Earth Command, reported Lyra Voss, fingers dancing across the hollow keys. Her voice bore the weight of urgency. Environmental scans, first contact protocols, colony treaties, everything. Vern nodded curtly. Good. Now activate the HDL comm arrays at maximum bandwidth. If there's any distortion in the transmission, we'll catch it. From the science station, Drake Soren called out, Captain, I'm still seeing that quantum residue echo in the aft section. It's spreading, like ripples from a stone thrown in water. Vern frowned. Define spreading. Its amplitude is increasing, Drake replied, voice tight. The oscillations are now reaching every deck. It's almost as if the beacon is calibrating itself to our systems. Calibrating, Vern muttered. So it's learning. He exchanged a look with Lyra. Keep an eye on that. I don't want surprises. The bridge lights dimmed suddenly, then flared back. Everyone stiffened, hands hovering near panels. Power fluctuation, said Torin Quinn, the engineering lead. We're stable, but that anomaly is probing our core systems again. Vern closed his eyes briefly. When he opened them, they shone with resolve. Let it probe. We can't hide. The court will judge what it sees. As if summoned by his words, the bridge speakers crackled. Static hissed, then resolved into the same disembodied voice that had answered their distress beacon. Your species broadcasts both creation and destruction, it intoned. The words weren't spoken aloud but reverberated through every circuit, every hull plate. Your supply ships bear aid, your warships bear death. Your history is etched in hull marks and treaties alike. Lyra's hand flew to her mouth. Drake leaned forward, eyes narrowed. Vern's voice was steady. We are aware of our failures. We work to correct them. Your words echo hollow until matched by deeds, the voice replied. The court demands demonstration. You were granted 24 hours. That time has begun. Demonstration of what? Vern asked. We survive. We adapt. We learn. You must choose, the voice said. Survival alone is not enough. The court requires proof that your kind merits continued existence. A hush fell over the bridge as the message faded into static. The Nova's hum returned, but the air felt colder, as if an unseen presence had swept through and rearranged the atmosphere itself. Vern turned to Drake. What does that mean, proof? Drake tapped his console. It's ambiguous. But based on the precedent logs, they want evidence, acts of compassion, restraint, constructive progress. Something to outweigh destructive impulses. So we need to broadcast more than data, we need to broadcast action, Vern said. We need to show them the best of humanity. Quinn's brow furrowed. But how? We're miles from any colony or ally. Our ship is half dead. Vern's jaw tightened. We use what we have. Programming medical drones to reseal depressurized sections. Reroute agricultural patches to assist shipbound hydroponics. Amplify our environmental scans to search for any lifeforms in distress, and help them. Lyra nodded. I'll encode those operations in the distress package. It'll stream as proof of effort. Drake added, and I can cross-reference every treaty signature we hold. Highlight first contact non-aggression pacts, peace accords, terraforming guidelines. Present them side by side with our current actions. Vern felt a spark of hope. Good, but it can't be just paperwork. We need footage. Personal testimonies. Crew statements. I'll record live logs, said Quinn, straightening. We can include messages from engineers, medtechs, even the janitorial staff. Everyone can state why their work matters. Vern managed a tired smile. Exactly. Humanity isn't just treaties and data, we're individuals with stories. Suddenly the forward display glowed once more. This time not with the figure or the monument, but a blinking alert. An uncharted asteroid field lay just beyond their patrol corridor, one so dense that it hadn't appeared on any chart. What's that? Lyra asked, leaning forward. Looks like an unregistered debris cluster, Drake said. Could be wreckage, or survivors. Vern's heart quickened. Plot an intercept course. We'll investigate. If there are lives to save, that's action they can't ignore. Quinn hit a sequence of commands. Course plotted. But we'll need to divert power from non-essentials, life support, shields, just to navigate safely. Vern nodded. Do it. As the Nova adjusted its heading, the crew busied themselves. Holoprojectors flickered to life in engineering and medical bays. Messages were recorded. Drones hummed as they activated internal repairs. 40 minutes later, the bridge crew gathered around the main viewport. The asteroid cluster loomed like a grim cathedral, dark rocks suspended in blackness. Status? Vern asked. Scanners picking up heat signatures, Drake said. 2 living figures, both human. Barely conscious. Vern's breath caught. Launch the rescue pod. Moments later, a small shuttle detached and dove into the field. Tension mounted as space rocks drifted by, lit by the Nova's forward beacons. Inside the shuttle, Medtech Alea Farnan worked to stabilize the drifting survivors, a pair of civilian engineers lost when their cargo ship was caught in a micrometeoroid storm. They're alive, Alea reported over comm, minor hypoxia, but stable. I'm bringing them aboard. A cheer rippled through the bridge. Vern allowed himself a measure of relief. Good work. When the shuttle docked, Alea rolled in 2 stretchers. Each survivor perked up at the sight of friendly faces. Vern stepped forward. I'm Captain Vern Arlen of the Nova. You're safe now. One survivor, a man with dirt-smudged cheeks, managed a weak smile. We heard your beacon, we thought no one would come. Vern's chest tightened. We're here because we choose to help. It matters. As medtechs whisked the engineers away, Lyra worked the comm uplink. Earth Command is receiving our footage, live now. They're broadcasting our rescue to every council station we've ever signed with. Drake tapped his console. Quantum beacon readings are spiking, our actions are being observed in real time. Vern exhaled. Then they're watching Mercy. The minutes passed in a flurry of activity. Each crew member felt weighed by the cosmic eyes upon them, but their purpose was clear, to demonstrate humanity's capacity for compassion. And as the Nova emerged from the asteroid field, 2 survivors among them, Captain Vern Arlen dared to believe that the echo of judgment might yet resound with hope. The Nova drifted in silent vigil before the unknown monument, power cores humming with the weight of cosmic scrutiny. Captain Vern Arlen paced the length of the command ring, mind racing through every log, every treaty, every rescue. Around him, the crew embarked on a mission more vital than exploration, to decipher the very mechanism they'd tripped, and to turn its fragments into proof of humanity's worth. Captain, called Lieutenant Rhea Ewan from the science alcove. Her holodisplay glowed with ribbon-like graphs. I've isolated the quantum residue patterns. It's definitely a beacon, one phase to detect human electromagnetic signatures, especially terraforming arrays. Vern crossed to her station. How precise is the lock-on? Rhea tapped coordinates. Sub-centimeter accuracy. It mapped our power outputs, NAV systems emissions, even our biosignatures. It's like it scanned the ship down to individual crew pulses. So it knows who we are, Vern murmured. And it catalogs us. Catalogs and broadcasts, Rhea said. I tapped into the uplink from the aft sensors. It's relaying our ship's profile back through a subspace network. Every nuance of our tech, our biosignatures, our acts. It's forwarding data to, somewhere. Where? Vern asked, eyes narrowing. Beyond charted space, she replied. We're talking sectors no human or Alliance vessel has ever reached. The quantum trace fragments vanish into the dark, then reappear near those grids, like a relay. Vern exhaled. So it's not a lone watcher. It's a network. Maybe a council, said Dr. Nikai Vela, the Nova's xenolinguist, stepping forward. And this tripwire is their gatekeeper. But I've been running translation algorithms on the residual pulses. It's not just data. It carries semantic markers, patterns that echo ancient code structures. Communication embedded in the residue itself. Malik Soros, systems analyst, joined them, eyes bright. I reconstructed a fragment. It repeats at intervals, observe, evaluate, record. But there's something more, an undercurrent of intention. Every pulse is laced with what I can only call a moral index. A moral index, Vern repeated. Yes, Malik said. It weights data, aggression scores, compassion scores, ecological impact scores. It's measuring our actions against an unknown scale. Then the next relay sends comparative analysis to the monument. Rhea frowned. So far, our rescue of those engineers scored high on compassion, but our terraforming trials score low on environmental stewardship. We need to tip the balance, Vern said. But how do we demonstrate genuine change when half our ship still runs off systems that alter planetary ecosystems? Dr. Vela's eyes glistened. Through words and deeds combined. Let me develop a transmission that doesn't just list treaties, but tells stories, stories of individual lives saved, ecosystems restored, communities uplifted. Narrative is powerful. Rhea interjected. I'll embed those stories in the quantum pulses. We can splice them into the residue template. It won't just be data, it'll be a signal of conscience. Malik nodded. And I can modulate our power outputs to reflect the story's timelines, matching the pulse intervals. They'll see our empathy encoded in the very fabric of the beacon. Vern's gaze swept the bridge. Make it so. And Drake, assemble footage from our first contact missions, the Barzian Relief Convoy, the Karate Alliance Summit. Show moments where humanity chose collaboration over conquest. Drake Soren, at the science console, lifted his head. Right away, sir. I'll overlay environmental scans, before and after images of terraformed sectors, showing rewilding protocols we've enacted when initial experiments failed. Vern clasped his hands behind his back. We owe them authenticity. If we sugarcoat our record, they'll see it as deception. We need transparency, our mistakes, our corrections, our human drive to learn. As the crew set to work, the Nova's internal comms thrummed with purpose. Holoscreen in the mess hall flickered to life, footage of starved colonists receiving hydroponic shipments, medtech brigs healing the wounded on Gathi 9, engineers dismantling illegal mining rigs to reforest jungles. Overlaid subtitles in 13 alien scripts, translated by Dr. Vela, repeated a single refrain, we choose to be better. Lieutenant Ewan monitored the quantum readout. Encoding now. The new signal aligns with the tripwire resonance frequency, sending a human testimony sequence. Malik adjusted waveform modulators. Uplink in 5, 4, 3. The bridge lights dimmed in anticipation. At 0, the Nova's hull vibrated as if exhaling. Consoles blinked, then stabilized. Ria's display showed the pulse, a complex waveform, rich in subtext. It arced outward from the ship, phasing through the monument's field and vanishing into silent space. For a long moment, nothing happened. The crew held their breath. Then the forward display glowed. Words appeared, not spoken, but inscribed in light. Improvement noted. Observation continues. Vern exhaled, shoulders sagging. At least they're listening. Behind him, Lyra tapped the main uplink. Earth Command confirms receipt, they forwarded our testimony to every Allied Council station. Dr. Vela smiled faintly. So our plea echoes across both human space and beyond. Now the burden falls on our actions, not just our words. Vern nodded. Then we give them more. Malfunctions in the medbay. Coordinate repairs with eco-modified drones. Ship's greenhouse. Harvest to feed the engineers we rescued, then broadcast that, too. Drake glanced at his console. Captain, another anomaly, power fluctuations in the hydroponic module. It's automated, but it's as if something is testing its limits. Vern's lips tightened. Or testing ours. Let it happen. Whatever they probe, we answer with integrity. Over the next hours, the Nova became a living case study. Ria's team repaired hull breaches with biocompatible polymers. Dr. Vela hosted open holovids where crew members shared their motivations for space exploration, curiosity, hope, unity. Malik mapped the Nova's energy footprint, showing reductions in waste heat and resource consumption. Each update triggered a new quantum pulse, data accepted. Evaluation ongoing. The tripwire's fragments danced across the bridge displays like a heartbeat. On the fourth rotation, Lyra reported, we're receiving faint transmissions from other human ships. They've decoded our broadcast and are replicating similar compassion-driven actions. Vern exchanged a hopeful glance. That means our example is contagious. But Malik's face was sober. Also means we're being compared. Their efforts will weigh against ours. Vern inhaled. Then let every human act count, not for glory, but because it's the right thing to do. As the Nova prepared to rendezvous with the orbital monument for the final hearing, the crew felt a unity deeper than any fleet formation. They weren't just seeking mercy, they were forging a new testament of humanity. And in the silent void, every fragment of that tripwire pulsed with the story of a species determined to rise above its sins. By the time they reached the monument, they would carry not just data, but the living proof that humanity could change, and that in the end, compassion might shine brighter than conquest. The Nova drifted into the pulsating field that surrounded the colossal monument. The structure hung in the void like a silent titan, an orb encased in concentric rings of faint blue luminescence, each ring inscribed with glyphs that pulsed in rhythmic harmony. Captain Vern Arlen stood at the command dais, awed despite himself. Years of charting stars had never prepared him for an encounter like this. Scanners confirm the rings are resonating with our quantum pulses, Lieutenant Ria Ewan reported. Her fingers traced the glyph patterns on a holomap. Each glyph corresponds to a different index: aggression, cooperation, ecological impact, innovation, compassion. They're reading our values. Vern inhaled slowly. So the court sees every facet of us, good and bad. They see it, Dr. Nikai Vela added. And they listen to our testimony. The invitation we received wasn't just to speak, it's to stand trial here, in presence of their collective authority. The bridge lights dimmed as the Nova's whole field phased in closer. Torin Quinn's engineering panel chimed, power fluctuations at 20%. Shields at minimal. If we push further, structural integrity may suffer. Vern nodded. Do it. Forward shields only, sacrifice safety to achieve proximity. We're here to face them. The Nova juddered as it slipped into the inner ring's field. Hull plating groaned, but steady hums of the core held it together. Outside the forward viewports, the monument's rings shifted, parting like petals to reveal a central aperture, an open maw of blue light that beckoned. They're inviting us in, Lyra Voss whispered, awed. Prepare docking protocols, Vern ordered. I want the command shuttle primed. We'll board in pairs. I'll go with Dr. Vela, Rhea Ewan with Malik Soros, and Lyra with Drake Soren. We'll carry our testimony logs on portable drives. Moments later, the shuttle detached and glided toward the monument's core. Inside, Vern felt a strange weightlessness, hull gravity fluctuating as they passed through the rings. The viewport revealed the orb's interior, an endless chamber lined with crystalline panels that refracted the blue glow into cascading patterns. At the far end stood an assembly of faceless silhouettes, tall forms draped in shimmering robes, each exuding quiet authority. Vern's heart pounded. He swallowed and stepped forward, Dr. Vela beside him. The shuttle settled on a translucent platform and the airlock opened. They emerged into the chamber. Silence reigned, broken only by the hum of the monument's energy. The silhouettes turned in unison, as though aware of every arrival. Vern's voice trembled, though he spoke evenly. I am Vern Arlen, captain of the Nova. We come to speak our testimony. A ripple of light passed across the crystalline floor. One silhouette advanced, its form crystalline, faceted like the panels around them. It raised a hand. Vern felt the gesture resonate through his mind. Captain Arlen, it communicated, not through sound but as a vivid mental transmission. The voice was neither male nor female, but both, echoing in thought. You stand before the ancients. Speak. Vern drew a breath and activated his portable drive. He held it before the figure. We present our testimony, stories of compassion and error alike. Our rescue of lost engineers, collaborative first contact summits, ecological restorations, and our acknowledgement of harm done. We bring transparency and remorse, and the vow to rebuild. Behind him, he sensed Dr. Vela's presence. She projected hollow images, lush reforestation on arid worlds, peace accords signed with alien ambassadors, medtech brigs treating the wounded of foreign skirmishes. The figures watched, energy rippling through the chamber as each image flickered across crystalline panels. When the testimony ended, the room fell into deeper silence. Vern's throat was dry. We have spoken, he said. Now we await your judgment. The faceted figure extended both arms, palms open. The chamber lights dimmed, then brightened, illuminating the entire assembly. Vern felt a collective gaze, as if every ancient mind bore down on him. Then, the primary figure stepped forward, touching its palm to its chest. Vern felt a warmth spread through his bones, as though his words and deeds had been weighed. Your testimony reflects both light and shadow, it communicated. You have shown remorse and will. But words alone do not suffice. You must endure a trial by reflection. Vern's eyes narrowed. What is this trial? Each crew member, the figure replied, must face their own mirror, confront a moment when a choice could have gone differently. You will relive, reconsider, and choose anew. Vern's breath caught. Dr. Vela gripped his arm. We agree, he said, voice firm. The crew will stand their mirrors. The chamber shivered. Crystalline panels slid aside, revealing smaller chambers in the orb's walls, each containing a crystalline mirror framed by alien glyphs. Vern understood, each crew member would enter a private trial, face their own past actions, and demonstrate growth. We stand ready, Vern said. The faceted figure inclined its head. So shall it be. Begin. Back on the Nova, word spread quickly. Corridors echoed with anxious murmurs as crew members approached their chambers. In the mess hall, malfunctions paused as engineers, medtechs, scientists, and officers prepared for their trials. Some sat in silence, others prayed or shared words of encouragement. Drake Soren found his door. Inside, the mirror shimmered into focus, an echo of his first encounter with a hostile sentinel race. He saw himself raising his weapon, hesitation on his face before he fired, lethal force that killed even though the sentinel had tried to surrender. Drake's chest tightened. Tears pricked his eyes as the reflection spoke in his mind. What would you choose now? Drake's hand shook. He stepped toward the mirror and spoke softly, I would spare you. I would translate, assist, seek understanding before violence. The mirror's surface rippled, and the echo faded. Outside, Rhea Yuan faced her chamber. Her mirror showed the moment she recommended terraforming a wetlands planet, ignoring warnings about its native fauna. The choice had nearly led to ecological collapse. Rhea's voice trembled, would halt the project until we understood the ecosystem. The mirror glowed and released her. Lieutenant Lyra Voss confronted her moment of prioritizing emergency repairs over rescue protocols, leaving behind a small research team for hours. Her reflection loomed, eyes accusing. She closed them, took a breath, and whispered, I would risk systems, but never leave a life behind. The mirror soothed, releasing her. Forsaken guilt and newfound resolve wove through every reflection chamber. By the time the last crew member emerged, dawn had slipped into the Nova's life support cycle. Veterans and rookies alike found themselves changed, lighter, though bearing the scars of self-confrontation. Vern waited in the command ring as the shuttle returned. Dr. Vela emerged first, face pale but eyes bright. They accepted each reflection. They saw both fault and promise. One by one, the crew disembarked, sharing brief embraces. Even Torin Quinn, stern and taciturn, offered a rare smile at Lyra's side. The ship felt smaller now, more intimate, each soul laid bare to the cosmos. Vern stepped forward, addressing the faceted figure by thought. We have faced our mirrors. We await your decision. The monument's lights dimmed to a gentle pulse. The chamber vibrated like a deep breath. Then the figure spoke, your species bears both scars and hope. The court acknowledges your courage to reflect. Final verdict to be delivered soon. Return to your vessel. As the crew reboarded the Nova, a hush settled over them, not of fear, but of anticipation. They had passed the court of the ancients, but the ultimate judgment still hung in the void. Captain Vern Arlen took his place at the command dais once more. He closed his eyes, steeling himself. Set course for home, he said quietly. And prepare for their final word. The Nova's engines engaged, carrying them away from the silent Titan. Behind them, the monument's rings closed, sealing its chamber in darkness, and leaving humanity's fate to the waiting cosmos. The Nova coasted through the void, engines humming a steady pulse, as Captain Vern Arlen prepared for the final act. The crew had offered their reflections, confronted their shadows, and faced the court of the ancients. Now they would speak not just truths or regrets, but the essence of their species, the testament of humanity's spirit. In the command ring, hollow projectors sprouted like crystalline flowers. At Vern's side stood Dar. Nikai Vela, Lieutenant Rhea Yuan, Malik Soros, Lyra Voss, Drake Soren, and Torin Quinn, each bearing the responsibility of a voice. Vern took a breath and addressed the assembly through the Nova's uplink. To the court of the ancients, he began, voice steady yet filled with emotion, we present the testimony of humanity, woven from threads of hope, regret, sacrifice, and resilience. We speak not as conquerors, but as caretakers of our world and seekers of connection across the stars. The holoscreens shifted, revealing a mosaic of images, children planting trees beneath alien suns, scientists and diplomats sharing meals at first contact summits, engineers restoring biodomes on dying colonies, volunteers offering vaccines to remote settlements. Vern narrated, each word deliberate. We are architects of futures both bright and broken. We chart paths through darkness, guided by curiosity and compassion. Our hands have built wonders, cities that span oceans, ships that cross light years, medicines that heal the once incurable. Yet our hands have also scarred worlds, stripping minerals, waging war, polluting skies. In our history lies both creation and destruction. Rhea tapped her console, switching to statistical overlays, graphical representations of humanity's progress and transgressions. Lines rose and fell, peace treaties signed versus conflicts ignited, reforestation efforts versus deforestation rates, energy harvested from fusion versus emissions spewed by coal. Each dataset flickered with color, then faded as Verne continued. But our story is not fixed, he said. We are a species that learns. We amend our mistakes. For every war begun, we have forged peace. For every forest consumed, we have replanted thousands of hectares. For every life taken, we have nurtured many more. Our greatest triumph is not in our might, but in our capacity to change. Dr. Vela stepped forward and activated a holomap tracing humanity's outreach, the first contact treaties spanning 15 alien civilizations, the joint research stations on neutral worlds, the interspecies symposia aimed at forging alliances. As the lines of connection glowed, she added, "We are not alone in this journey. Our greatest achievements arose when we reached across the void, offered friendship, and welcomed the stranger." Malik Soros then adjusted the display to show time-lapse reconstructions, deserts blossoming under careful irrigation, polluted oceans cleared by orbital filters, species once thought extinct revived through genetic archives. Malik's voice broke the silence. We bear responsibility for both harm and healing. When we realize a system fails, we do not abandon it, we rebuild stronger, with wisdom gained. Lyra Voss brought up personal testimonies, hollow recordings of crew members speaking from the heart. A medtech described patching together an alien child's broken limb, an engineer recounted defusing a mutiny fueled by fear and mistrust, a cartographer remembered charting star systems to bring isolated colonies into the galactic community. Each narrative ended with a variation of the same vow: we choose empathy over indifference. Torin Quinn took the helm next, running simulations of future scenarios. He showed two diverging paths, one where humanity continued on its old trajectory, expanding relentlessly, clashing with native lifeforms, sowing discord, and another where treaties deepened into unified governance, where ecological considerations guided every project, where technology served life rather than exploited it. The second path shimmered with verdant worlds and bustling communal habitats. Our future is not predetermined, Quinn said. The path we choose now will echo through countless generations. We stand at a crossroads, ready to turn toward harmony or repeat our follies. Finally, Drake Soren activated a composite echo of the Nova's journey, the sudden anomaly, the appearance of the judgment figure, their system collapse and rescue of stranded engineers, the testimony to the monument, the trial of reflections. He narrated with quiet pride, through crisis, we did not hide. Through accusation, we did not deflect. We faced our deeds, confessed our faults, and strove to be better. Verne raised his hand, signaling the culmination. The holoscreens dissolved into a single image, the Nova itself, patched and glowing with renewed life, framed against the silent monument. Beneath it, a simple inscription scrolled in alien glyphs and human script. We are flawed. We are hopeful. We deserve the chance to fulfill our promise. The uplink closed. The Nova's systems fell silent, as though the entire ship inhaled in anticipation. Moments later, the monument's rings reactivated. Through the forward viewport, Verne watched concentric glyphs cycle in rapid patterns of light. Then the space around the Nova shimmered, and the familiar figure reappeared, its robes flowing like silent smoke, eyes reflecting the mosaic of human testimony. Captain Verne Arlen, it intoned, voice resonant within every mind aboard. Humanity has spoken and shown both its darkness and its light. The testimonies are recorded, the reflections noted, the future paths considered. Verne held his breath. The court of the ancients, the figure continued, unanimously acknowledges your species' capacity for change and compassion. The verdict is provisional. A ripple of confusion passed through the crew. Provisional, the figure clarified. You will return to your path, guided by the principles you have affirmed. You shall demonstrate your commitment through acts of cooperation with at least 3 neighboring civilizations within 1 standard year. Should you uphold these ideals, the final judgment granting continuation will be affirmed. Should you fail, the court reserves the right to sever your species' cosmic ties. Verne's chest tightened, but relief flooded his limbs. "We accept these terms." The figure inclined its head, then faded. The monument's ring spun once more, then powered down, leaving the Nova adrift in quiet space. Captain Arlen exhaled and turned to his crew. Eyes bright despite exhaustion, they exchanged smiles and tears. Rhea clasped Malik's shoulder. Dr. Vela embraced Torin. Lyra and Drake shared a quiet laugh. Vern raised a hand. "We have our charge," he said softly, voice carrying through the command ring. "Not merely to survive, but to thrive in fellowship with others, human and alien alike. The true test begins now." As the Nova's engines awakened and plotted a course toward the nearest allied civilization, the crew felt a unity deeper than any mission before. They had passed the trial, yet the journey had only just begun. Captain Vern Arlen looked out at the endless stars, each one a silent witness. "All right," he said, turning to Lyra. "Open comms. Let's show them who we truly can be."